And welcome to my I know I just did last summer movie review. So now I'm going to review the first one, of course. The first of the bunch of the I know we did last summer. The first one, of course, the 1997 film that I've seen it quite a few times now. It's a film that I really do like. It's a good film. 1997, of course. It was directed by a guy called Jim Gillespie, who directed the films like Detox and Venom. 2005 Venom. I've got that. I think I've got it. I think I downloaded it. I think I watched it ages ago. And I watched it again. Really like it. I think it's Venom. It's a film called Venom. It's like 2005 horror film. So yeah, it's a good. Like I said, I've seen this film before, and I've seen it. You know, it's about Let's just read the. Okay, it's about four high school teenagers try to cover up a hit-and-run case. A year later, they start receiving anonymous letters, and each one is attacked by a mysterious man who knows their deep, dark secret. Now, this film I saw like the first time. I think I saw it a year later. I think when it came out, and I think it was a year or 2 years later. I can't remember. I watched it. Like, it's got like Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt. She looks great, by the way. And she's beautiful. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy Vampire Slayer, fantastic. And Ryan Phillips. Freddie Prinze Jr., Johnny Galecki, Bridget Wilson, who's on Mortal Kombat, who plays Sonya Blade. She's good, you know, she's stunning. So we've got Freddie Prinze Jr. Oh, this is the interesting part about this film, right? And I didn't really think about it until after. What's the name? Ryan Phillips and Sarah Michelle Gellar are actually cool intentions, which is funny. And then this having a relationship in this, but in real life, but people probably know this anyway. But Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. got together on this film, which is, I mean, to be honest, I'd say he's the luckiest guy on the planet. I mean, Jesus Christ, it does kind of, you know, I kind of go, whoa, lucky son of a bitch. So anyway, the film made a box office of 125.3 million. I don't know what the budget was. I don't know what the Oh, okay, let's get the Wikipedia. Son of a bitch. Yeah, it's got a good cast actually. It was distributed by Columbia Pictures. Released in October the 17th, 1997. Running time 101 minutes. Country United States. Language is English. It did pretty well. Like 17 million. That's a lot of money, but it made 125.3 million. So that's the reason why they made a sequel. It's got a really good cast. Let's just read a bit of the plot. On July the 4th, 1990s, in Southport, North Carolina, Julie James and her friends Ray Bronson, Helen Shivers and Barry Cox drive to the beach. While driving along a coastal byway, they accidentally hit a pedestrian. Julie's friend Max passes by them on the road. Julia reassures Max that their well-being, and he leaves. Passes by, I don't know, and he leaves them. The group decides to dump the body in the water and never discuss what happened. Of course, then the film takes place in 1997. I thought it was 97, 96, 97. It takes a year later, and of course they start getting these like letters. Like, I know it did last summer letters, and of course in this film there's no like mobile phones like texts or anything. It's just like letters. And of course there's paranoia that starts to build, and other characters do get killed along the way. The guy who passes by, and one of the guys who starts a fight with Finger's character, what's his name? Ryan Phillips' character. He gets killed the first. He's the first character to actually get killed. Can't understand why he kills certain characters, but he kind of like toys with them in the film, and then he starts to like kill them off one by one. The cast is really good. I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar's really good actress. Of course, she's great in this. She's not Buffy Summers in this. She's like she's got vulnerability. I mean, Buffy has vulnerability, I suppose, but her character is humorous, so she can get killed rather, not like Buffy. But I've always liked Selma Shogun. I mean, and of course each of the characters, Finger's character there's like a Finger's character, Ryan Phillips's character. He tells them not to mention this instant whatsoever. Doesn't matter what goes off, don't mention it whatsoever. And of course, these letters start coming in. And of course, I think, you know what, and there's like untrust between the group. You know, Finger's character, Phillips' character, he thinks that Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character is doing this, and of course, and this killer is very smart. Of course, he wears this like fisherman outfit with a hook, and you don't know. And then there's a lot of people in this, you know, like actually wear that, this fisherman and stuff. And I do genuinely like. I think it's a really put together. I think it's a really well put together horror film about, you know, who do you trust in this whole film? Who do you trust? And of course, there's a bit of a twist to the, you know, it's a bit of a twist about the killer, and so yeah, I do like it. I've always liked this movie. I've always enjoyed it. It's a fun movie, especially for Halloween. So it's kind of like a who the killer is kind of situation, a bit like Scream, whatever. But this killer is like, is out for revenge stuff. He knows what happened last summer, so he's you know, it's like an anniversary of that, you know, of that situation. And of course, when he starts killing people, it's like there's a part where he kills a person, this character in here. Of course, for no reason he kills them. He was really there. He was a part of it, but he kills him and puts his body in the back of one of the characters' car. And he has all his crab, and he puts all. That's the thing that kind of baffles me, because I think he puts all his like his body and all that. You know, loads of crabs, and then she goes to see her friends to tell her about the body. They come back, and of course, it's gone. There's nothing there. And you think, why the hell did he do that? Just got rid of one in a matter of minutes, you know. I mean, it's like Houdini, just vanished, you know. These crabs, unless the, you know, crabs took the freaking body and just like hopped it, got the hell out of there. But yeah, I think the film was really well done. It's a good, I'd say it's an underrated little gem of a horror film. I really would. There's another good scene where Finger's character, Ryan Phillips' character, I won't say each name because I can't remember the names of the characters. I'm always forgetting. I watch the film and then I forget the name after, unless it's Star Wars. I knew Luke Skywalkers and stuff like that, but when I watch horror films, you know, I'm like, who the hell are they? You know, so I can't remember the character's name. Not because I don't like the characters. I mean, it's just sometimes you just forget a name. You just like to watch a horror film. So anyway, each of the characters do start getting killed left, right, and centre. So there's definitely have some jump scares, and I think the most Ryan Phillips' character, I like the part where he almost gets killed, and then the killer lets him off for some reason, and that was an interesting one. That kind of baffles me a little bit, because I thought to myself, the killer's got him right there to kill him, but then he just leaves him, which is weird. So yeah, like I said, paranoia started, and you start to find out later on you know, there's this guy. You know, when you see this guy at the beginning, you think it was him at the beginning, and then it's like, okay. It kind of starts to connect. If you watch the film, it starts to connect. So yeah, it's a really enjoyable horror film that I've always liked. And there's another scene with Selma Shogun's character. She kind of gets her hair cut. She has it actually. I like the part where she's in, you know, she's wearing just a shirt and everything. She goes into bed. You know, Selma Shogun just wearing a shirt that works for me. She goes into bed, right? The killer's hiding in like a wardrobe, you know, like where it opens up, and like a normal wardrobe, like a finger where it opens up. We see it, you know, when you see Halloween with Laura Strode is hiding in whatever. So it's like that, man. It's hiding in there, man. And she wakes up and he cuts her hair off, and she thinks, she doesn't know, to be honest with you, she does a good job with her hair because it's like short, but it suits her. I think the hair suits her when it's shorter, right there. It looks really good. It's probably I reckon she probably did that for Buffy. They probably say, you know, let's cut your hair a little bit so when she's on Buffy, her hair's shorter. But it suits her. Hair suits her, no doubt. So it suits her when it's long. I think it suits her when it's like that. It looks really good. Yeah, it's an enjoyable movie. I do enjoy it. It's got good characters. It's got interesting twists in it. It's got interesting like moments in the film that I really do like. I mean, I've seen it like so many times, and I still like this film. It's still like a favourite of mine. Some of the death scenes are really well done. It's not super gory, but it's gory. It's not like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or freaking Saw. Nothing like that. So yeah, it's an enjoyable, fun horror film about a hook man ready to kill anyone, of course. I like the last bit of the movie. I'll get to the last bit. No, I like the part where Ryan Phillips' character is getting killed, and you see Finger's character, so Michelle Gellar's character, she's like pointing up, like, you know, and next minute you see Finger's character behind, you know, attacking him. Then somehow his body just disappears, so he kills this character, of course. And another scene that was really well done is so Michelle Gellar's character is back of a. That's the features the back of a police car, and she's locked in there for some reason. And then the police officer gets killed because she takes him with him to wherever they're going, of course. And then the hookman is like there, pretending to fix the car. And then the policeman gets killed, of course. Then she has to escape, and that scene was well done when she goes back to her sister's, where her sister is, and of course, and that scene kind of reminds me of Halloween 1, where Laura Strode goes back to the house getting chased by Michael Myers. And she tries to get in, and the kids are like taking them time to open the door. That scene was really good. It kind of reminds of that scene. But yeah, that scene was really good. And then somehow the hook man somehow managed to get into the, you know, the problem is he finds a way in somehow and kills a sister. And then so it happens to Selma Shogal's character, where she kind of like stops. There's like fireworks. She escapes the killer, then there's fireworks, and then she stops instead of like just running and, you know, get the hell out of it. You know, she just kind of stands there. She looks one side, and then she looks back, and then she looks forward, and then he's there and kills her. And the last part was really good. The last part was good where there's a thing, what was it called? Blue Billy. Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character has a boat called Blue Billy, and of course, thing is like, what the hell? Plays along with the story, and of course, that part was really good. I like the part where she gets locked in. She goes to her boyfriend's boat, and he's like there, and of course, he's like, what the hell's going off, you know? And of course, then it turns out you find out who the real killer is. Along the, you know, that scene was I think that scene was really well done, where she gets strapped on the boat with the killer's boat, when he has always like pictures and stuff. When he gets his hand chopped off, like a bit like freaking Candyman. I like the part where he gets his hand chopped off, but that proves that he's still alive because it's knocked into the water. On they find his hand, and with the hook, of course, he's still alive, of course. So yeah, so it opens for a sequel, because at the end of the film she's out having a shower or something, which is never a bad thing. Jennifer Love Hewitt in a shower, yes please. And I like the part where you see, I always know what he did last summer. I always know, and that's for the sequel, which is cool. The film's really well, and then the guys come through the window. Now that part was pretty good, because I think that was a dream sequence. I'm sure it was. It looks like a kind of dream sequence. Because if she gets tapped there, I don't know how she survived in the second one. It's kind of weird. That's one of those films that has one of those ends you think, was that a dream sequence or what? But yeah, I do genuinely like this film. It's a really enjoyable film. It's got good characters. There's a lot of screaming in it, but that's your typical horror film. 90s horror, you know, or 80s, whatever, screaming in it. So yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they had a lot of screaming in that, and it doesn't really bother me. So yeah, it's a good film. I really do genuinely enjoy this film. It's a fun horror film. So what I didn't like about it, Selma Shogal's death was a bit weak. She has a really good build up with the chasing her. Really, that was really well done. But I just think that, oh man, this bugs me when I think about it now, because she could have had a really good death scene in it. It just kind of attacks her, and that's it. You don't see her death. Maybe she wanted to play it. Maybe she wanted that. I don't know. In the film, in the story, wasn't a terrible death scene. I suppose it kind of leads to the imagination. You think maybe she survived, but she isn't even in the sequel, so I don't think she did. That's the only thing I didn't like about her death scene. Okay, what I liked about, I like the characters, and I like the really attractive women. You know, Jennifer Love Hewitt, gorgeous. Selma Shogal, gorgeous. Freddie Prinze Jr., gorgeous. I'm not swinging that way, by the way. But yeah, it's a really enjoyable film, and so yeah, I really did enjoy it. Nice finale, a good finale too. So yeah, the rating I'm going to give this film is a 4 out of 5 because it's a good, damn fun horror movie, slasher movie. So yeah, so going on to the next review. Right, my next review is I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, the second in the I Know What You Did Last Summer movie series, of course. This is a 1998 film, directed by Danny Cannon this time. Written by Trey Calloway, I don't care about those. Starring returning people, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr. Some other characters that are on. Yeah, Brandy, Mickey Pfeiffer, Muse Watson, Bill Cobbs, and Matthew Settle. Let's review down. Countries: United States, Mexico, language English. Made a budget of 24 million and the box office 84 million. 24 million, that's more than the first one. Can't remember what the first one was actually. Don't know how much. Okay, right. The plot is 1 year after the brutal murders of her friends Helen Shivers and Barry Cox by the vengeful fisherman Ben Willis, played by Muse Watson, Julia James, Jennifer Love Hewitt is attending summer classes in Boston but suffers from nightmares of the murders. Julia's roommate Carla Watson, Brandy, receives a phone call from a local radio station and wins a vacation for 4 to the Bahamas despite answering the question incorrectly. Now that's a little bit of a twist in this movie. The twist is that she answers the question completely wrong. And there's a bit of a twist who it was on the phone call. So she invites her friend's boyfriend, Ray Bronson, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., who returns in this movie, who declines but later changes his mind, of course. Then that evening, Ray and his co-worker Dave, John Hawkes, drive to Boston to surprise Judy, but stop due to a body in the middle of the road. But when Ray discovers the body is a mannequin, Ben appears and kills Dave with his hook. So I won't read the whole story because I never did that last one I did. So they end up at the Bahamas, of course. And of course, at first it's fine, the weather's fine. Then later on in the film, there's like a massive storm, like rain, and it's been raining here actually in the UK. It's been raining, but in this film, it's like full blown shower. And of course, that's when the attacks start happening. Actually, you know what the funny thing is? Jack Black's in this. It's crazy. Jack Black, he's in this film. He has these dreadlocks, of course, and he's a bit of a crazy character. But when you watch this film, you think, who? When I first watched this film, I thought to myself, So you wonder if there's someone else behind the killings, because it's like Willis' character kills Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character's friend gets killed by Willis, of course. You think, hang on, if he's there, who the hell's on the? Because he can't just travel to both sides killing people. So, because it's quite a distance, he has to travel from boat to the island, of course. The film's really enjoyable. I think this film is underrated because it does something. You know, it ups its game a bit, the violence and the more sinister kills and stuff. And I do enjoy this film. I watched it the first time and I thought I was a bit surprised by the twist, who's behind it. Wasn't expecting that when I first watched it. I kind of went, whoa, that was an interesting twist. I watched it again today and I just think, what a good little twist in it. I really liked it. It's not a perfect movie, but it's an enjoyable slasher movie. Things start to happen, of course, in this movie. My favourite scene in this whole film is when Jennifer Love Hewitt gets into the freaking suntan thing and then she gets locked in, like, Willis locks her in. I remember that scene where she just takes the top off, and then the camera's just going down, because it's like, I tell you, the camera loves her body, honest to God, because I'm just like, she's perfect in this movie. She really is. She can sing. Jennifer Love Hewitt, I've not seen her for quite a long time on any film. She was in a comedy with who was it? Was it Sigourney Weaver? She's really attractive. I haven't seen her anything since, but she's, you know, she's still. I remember just watching in this film and just went, wow, she is easy on the eye. She really is a really. I mean, she's a good actress. She can sing. She looks great. So yeah, I was a bit surprised when I first watched it. I was a bit surprised who else is behind these killings. A bit of a nice little twist, and I think this film's underrated. I think this film is way underrated. Then, but yeah, they made like 2 films, and then there's a third one that has a bit of a crazy twist. And I was like, I wasn't expecting that, to find out who the killers had to get off the island. The film's really, actually the acting's pretty good too. I like the fact that Willis's character is like playing mind games with Jennifer Love Hewitt's character. She's playing mind games by having bodies drop down and right in front of her. There's one part where she goes into this like wardrobe, there's like a body in it, and then it drops down and it vanishes afterwards, and they're like, you know, what the hell. Jeffrey Combs is in this bar. He's in this film. Jeffrey Combs. He was on Deep Space Nine and The Frighteners. He's great in this. He's always watchable in these films. Every time he's in the film, you think that's Jeffrey Combs, or you know, you just think he's great. I think the scene I really, there's a lot of scenes I like in the film. I mean, this in the part where I think his friend gets killed, hooks him right. You know, the part where the mannequin scene that was really good. I like that scene where they're driving along. He escapes from the hospital, and it's with his that's afterwards. It's with his friend who wants to go to the Bahamas. Of course, there's a mannequin in the road van. He thinks when he goes towards it, it's a mannequin. Of course, straight away he knows it's a setup, and then looks back and his friend gets killed by Willis's character, quite brutally. Just hooks him like that, and of course he still wears that fisherman outfit. You don't see much until the last part. But yeah, it's a really enjoyable film. It's a really enjoyable film. I like this film. I like the finale to it. It's got a good finale to this film. It finds out who's behind all this. Twists and turns and pretty good death scenes in it, I would say. Jack Black was a bit of a surprise when I first watched. I didn't really know who he was until later on. I like the characters too in it. So yeah. What don't I like about it? I can't think of anything I disliked about it. So yeah, okay, what I liked about it. Performance is good. Jennifer Love Hewitt is probably my favourite part of the whole movie when she gets onto that bed. Great death scenes, good performances, and a nice little twist in it. That there's twists and turns in this film. I like the part where the guy in it, he says that you got the question wrong, because the question was, what was the capital of Brazil? And you think to yourself, oh my god, it was a setup all that time. Yeah, but I did like the twist. I thought it was interesting. And when you find out the killers, you think, interesting. So yeah, you don't expect until you watch it. Of course, I know I've seen it before, so I know. But when I first watched it, I wasn't expecting it. So yeah, it's a good twist, and it's a good underrated film. And this is a 1998 film, so you think, God, this is going back a long time. I watched it about 1999 on VHS, I think it was. Really liked it. Really did like it. So yeah. So okay, that's what I liked about the death scenes, like the performances. And Jennifer Love who can sing. She's good. She actually does the music video. She does a bit of singing in it, and I think she does. I'm sure she does. But yeah, it's definitely. So yeah, the rating I'm gonna give. And I like the twist too. Yeah, so the death scenes are great, and the story's it's a lot more darker. I think it's a darker film. Darker feel to it to the first one. Especially when it starts raining and stuff, it's got this kind of sinister atmosphere after us. It's quite good. So yeah, makes it more effective than the rain does, and the thunder and stuff like that. It's really good. So the rating I'm going to give this film is a 4 out of 5. The first one, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely worth a watch. I like slasher movies. So 4 out of 5 for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Definitely worth a watch. It's a good sequel. I'd say it's a solid sequel. Almost as good as the first one. So yeah, anyway, so people, going on to the next review. Let's go. Okay, my final review is I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. This is a 2006 sequel to the other two. Now, it's directed by, I'll just give information. It's directed by Sylvain White, starring Brooke Nevin, David Pakatuki, and Tori DeVito, and Ben Bennett Easter. Running time 92 minutes. So anyway, straight to DVD. It's not like the other films. Those films were released on cinema. In 2005, Amber Williams, her boyfriend Colby Patterson, and their friends Zoe Roger and PJ staged a prank at the town carnival where Roger impersonates the fisherman killer. Afterwards, everyone sees PJ's body impaled on a tractor smokestack instead of matches that were supposed to break its fall. The public believe the fisherman is behind it, and the friends burn the evidence and make a pact to keep it secret. So anyway, it's just like the first film, and of course things are like kind of normal. The friends just died. Of course, the pranks. It's just a prank that goes completely wrong. Because at first it does look like the fisherman's back, and then it turns out to be one of the friends completely pranking everyone, and they think they're in on it. They know it was a prank, and of course when he dies, they have to keep the secret. And it's just like the first, well, kind of similar, but it's a different situation to be in. And of course, there's a few bit of guilt going through. You know, the young girl in it, who she's like feel guilty about. She's like guilty about it. Feels guilty, of course. And of course, then she starts getting, then she gets a text from someone saying that I know what he did last summer. A bit like the first one, I know what he did last summer, but and you wonder who it is. I've seen this film before, and I was a bit surprised who it is. I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. They kind of like went a bit over the top with the. I didn't mind it though, because I had a blast watching this. I liked it the first one, I liked it the second time. But I watched it anyway a while back and I really enjoyed it. It's not one of those movies that is going to win an award, but it does have some quite inventive effects in this film. Death scenes are pretty good. Some really good death scenes like the other two films. This film's quite gory too, much more gory than the first one. But this doesn't have the returning characters. They could have like had different characters playing the same, different actors playing different actors playing the same characters, but it would have been terrible. I think it would have been a worse film, because you can't, because the characters in the first film, two films, you know who they are, you know the actresses, and you think to yourself, well, now if they'd have done that, I wouldn't have liked this film as much, I don't think, but I still like it. It's an enjoyable, fun horror film, slashing movie, and it does have a bit of a crazy twist, and I was like, oh come on, you don't know the killers until later on in the film. I first think it's the sheriff and stuff and all those. First of all, there's like suspicions with the sheriff and people aren't they, and of course some death scenes are pretty good. I'd say one of the characters tries to kill himself, then the fisherman himself kills him, so does his job for him, quite nastily, you know, right across the throat. And the death scenes, like I said, the death scenes are pretty good in this film, quite gory. Well, not the worst acting ever. It's not a terrible movie. It's not one of those movies like, oh, this is awful. It's not a bad film at all. I started to watch it for, you know, I'm enjoying this film. I watched it years and years ago and I enjoyed it. I had a blast watching it. It's not going to be like one of the greatest horror film sequels of all time, but it's an enjoyable film. It's definitely worth if you get all that I know what you did last summer films, you get that with it. It's a bonus. I like it. I like that film. And of course, there's a new TV series on it. I'm like, I've got to check that one out. I'm not sure if it takes place. I don't think it does take place after that, but who knows? And I'm kind of glad they didn't replace the characters with different actors. Replace the characters with different actors. Because sometimes I hate that when they do that on social. So because you're that used to the other ones, they do a really good job in the last film. So yeah, I really do enjoy this film. I just thought, wow, what a movie. Okay, what a good horror film. What a sequel that's not perfect, but it does have some great moments. I like the scene with this one girl that does this singing, right? She's doing the singing, right? Of course, they have to get away because they've got to get away from the town, whatever. And of course, so they decide to stay behind. I like this part where the mirror scene was really good. Even I was like, hey, there's like a scene where she's like looking in the mirror, right? And you can see her head from behind, and then she kind of like does that, and the camera still goes into her when she does that, the camera kind of like goes into it when she puts her head back up, and the camera's. And I think to myself, that was really well done. This film might probably get shit on, but you know, it's got some inventive ideas in it, like effects and stuff, the way they use certain camera tricks and stuff, which I thought mirror tricks. I thought that was pretty good. I did think that was pretty good the way. It's got some good music, and it has an interesting twist at then who the killer is. I wasn't expecting. I was sitting there going, Jesus, gotta be kidding, man. I didn't really mind it because it wasn't what I expected. I thought the killer would be someone else, but heck, I was like, Jesus Christ. In the film, they're trying to make it obvious certain parts where they're like, where they're staring and stuff, and it's like, I wonder if they're the killer. And this killer can actually somehow manage to get. Yeah, this killer can somehow travel around pretty fast without no one seeing it. We'll see him or whatever. It's like, like I said, it's an enjoyable film. I'm probably give it a predictable rating right now. So yeah, and the ending part was pretty good. How they killed him and stuff, and there's a bit of a twist, and so yeah, he must really travel like Superman, fast. So yeah, so what I disliked about it, not a returning casting or characters. That was the only problem because, but it's not a big problem because I suppose you've got. A straight to DVD release film they're not going to be on this film, full stop. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. So I'm glad they didn't replace the characters with different actors because I don't like when they do that. So they have new characters in it. I think that's good. Something different. They don't follow the same thing where they kill someone by accident. No, a prank that goes wrong and then this killer goes after him because they don't say anything at all. They don't say nothing, then the film takes a year later, like I said. So I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I thought some of the characters were good. So yeah, so it's got some really good, quite brutal death scenes in it. Nasty. So yeah, some of the music was good in it. I like the music, some of it. So yeah, and the ending part was good. I like the ending part. So the rating I'm going to give this film is a 4 out of 5. As like I said, I'm going to give a predictable ending. I gave the other film as a 4 out of 5, so I gave this one a 4 out of 5. So yeah, good film. Really enjoyed it. Like I said, it's not one of those films that's it's not a terrible movie. In my humble opinion, this is not a terrible movie. I've seen way worse than this. So yeah, so 4 out of 5 for I always know what you did last summer, because I always do. So anyway, people, I'm going to go off now. 4 out of 5 for I always know what you did last summer, because that's what I do. And I'm going to go off now, people. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Remember to hit that subscribe button. I've been deleting all my bloody videos just to get my reused content off, and it's taken for quite a long time. So yeah. And if people want to go off now, remember to subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day, have a nice week. Take a look at yourself, and have a nice week. And I know what you did last summer. I always will do. So see you later. See you later, and have a nice week. And take care.